Hello, Queens. Welcome to a different episode today. So, today's episode is Hot Seat Coaching. I'm going to be hot seat coaching one of my group coaching ladies, Kerry-Jane, and I've not coached her before, only I've met her once in a group environment. So, I'm very excited to dive in. So, I'm just going to let her in from the waiting room. Admit. Here she is. Good morning.
Morning, Victoria. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you feeling today, KJ?
Yeah, not too bad. A little bit anxious, I suppose, but yeah, not too bad. But I have
Good.
to just say beforehand, I have children that are in the other side of the house. So I have said to them, unless you are dying or there's lots of blood, you cannot come through. So let's hope they don't come through because it could be quite serious then. So I'm
Oh,
just
yeah,
letting them
let's
know
hope they
beforehand.
don't.
Yes.
But
So I'm
no
just
problem. No.
awesome.
Yeah. So can you just start off by, I've just done a little intro before I let you in, and I've shared that I've only met you once in a group environment, and so we don't know each other that well. So I'm really excited to see how this call will go. Can you just start off by sharing like what your name is, where you're from, how long you've been struggling with what you're struggling with, and then of course we'll then go into the coaching from there.
Okay. So my name is KJ Lepan. I'm from South Africa, from a place in South Africa called Durban. Beautiful place, really warm and sunny. And I've been struggling with an eating disorder for about 35 years now. Pretty much almost, yeah, I can, far back as I can remember. And it's sort of morphed over the years. It just sort of started with definitely with the body dysmorphia, and then it then went into like quite severe restricting. And then it's now moved into what I perceive to be quite bad binging and purging. And it's just it's like out of control. Like I don't know, yeah, I don't know what to do to stop. Yeah, so I think that's sort of where I am at the moment.
Yeah, well, you're in the right place in the group as well.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
what would you like to walk away with after this 45 minutes to an hour? What's your intention for this?
So I think, there's one part of me that's like, sure, Victoria's just going to give me all the skills and, I'm going to know everything and I'm going to be not being fighting the fight that I am sort of fighting at the moment. But then, obviously that's not possible. So there's a large part of me that just wants, I guess, almost like a normalizing or a different way to view things, to view myself. Because you do feel, as I said to you, like I've only disclosed this to like 3 or 4 people in my entire life. So I did feel that it's only me that's going through this. There's nobody else that's as batshit crazy and could really struggle with things the way that you did. And obviously with the group coaching that we did the other day, it was the first experience that I ever had of like, okay, it's not just me. Like, there are other people. So I guess it's also just about that with you, because I found it so beneficial just listening to your podcasts as it, up to now.
Yeah, and I'm so grateful that you found those beneficial. And I think we all have this thought. I certainly did. And you've shared that you have had this thought that no one's as fucked up as me, or you use the word batshit crazy as me. And I say that
Yeah.
with really light humor because it's true.
No.
And you feel very alone when you think those thoughts. So I'm glad the group has opened your eyes to the fact that we're all in this together. And I can give you a shitload of tools and things that are going to help you to transform your life, definitely. But where shall we start? What questions or what kind of aspect would you like to dive into to start with?
Sure. It's quite a broad, I guess, a bit of a broad question. I don't know. I think for me, like, there's been glimpses of like it's not catastrophic. So I have very black and white thinking. So it's all or nothing type of thing. Then listening to your podcast, there was times where you were like, you talked about, sort of slowly, and your perception of how things were. And I guess I just want to be able to understand how to do that, because I still look, like I look and I go, okay, you shouldn't worry, like it's okay. And I guess it's, what's that, not gratitude bombarding, but self, like, oh, it's going to be okay, Kerry, just turn around, walk away from the mirror, but it
Yeah.
doesn't work like that, so I guess it's like, how did you get to that point that you were able to just be okay, like
Okay.
not stress out.
Great question. So let's dive into that then. So give me an example of what happens currently when you go to the mirror, whether you're getting dressed or whether you're body checking, whatever comes to you
Yeah.
first.
So it's basically that it's revolting, like that you look too terrible for words. And because I come from a background of sports and being, having the six pack and that sort of stuff, it's like, sure, you really let yourself go. Like, this is like, you're not a good person. You definitely are not a good person. And people are not going to like you anymore, because your self-worth, the way I touch my self-worth, is very much in my body, the way I look, I can perform doing certain things. So it's that not good enough. People are not going to like you. You definitely don't like yourself. So how can anybody else like you? So I think that's, yeah. And it sounds very extreme, but for me, it just feels like absolute disgust. Like, ugh, you don't want to look at that. Like, it's not
I
nice.
feel you so much. I truly feel you. And so, have you got pen and paper with you? I should have actually pre-empted you to get
I
some.
do. I do. Yes, I
So
do
we're
have.
going to
Yeah.
do an exercise, and this exercise I did every day for months until I could just do it in my head automatically. And this is how I started to go from genuine disgust to the point what you're describing, to the point where I couldn't even look at myself because I
Yeah.
wanted to leave my skin. I wanted to just get out of the overwhelming feelings of disgust at myself when I looked in
Yeah.
the. And so draw like a big circle, like a clock.
Okay.
Obviously, those listening can also follow along if they like. And then I want you to draw 6 segments of that circle. So let's say like 6 pizza slices or something like that.
Yeah.
You don't have to be perfect.
Cool. Yeah.
Okay.
Got that.
So outside the circle at the bottom, I want you to write down how you feel when you look in the mirror and your thoughts are, that's disgusting. How do you feel?
Okay. Must I answer that or just write it down?
Share it with me as well.
Okay. So I think obviously the one was disgusted, but I think the two that are also interlinked are guilt and shame. Guilt as in, like, how could you have let yourself get to this point, and you should have more self-control, you're better than this type of thing. And attached with that in guilt. And also there's an anxiety, because if I don't like the way I look, then people are going to reject me as much as I'm rejecting myself. So I think that's sort of where, where it sits at the moment.
Yeah. So would you say guilt, shame, and rejection?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So if you write those 3 down, guilt, shame, and rejection,
Yeah.
and then at the top, outside the circle at the top, in a perfect world, which we don't live in, and this is why we're going to do this exercise in a moment, write down the opposite feelings to guilt, shame, rejection.
Okay. So it would be obviously acceptance, love, acceptance, love. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be 3.
Yeah, no, I'm just, there is a feeling, I'm just trying to articulate it. It's like, it's going to sound cheesy to say, like happiness, like oneness, like not fragmented. So there's, yeah, that's it. Not having this fragmented life, appearance type of thing. So it would be
Like
oneness,
whole.
I suppose. Yeah.
Whatever
Yeah.
resonates with you, write it down, and then just say out loud what you have written down at the top.
Okay. So it would be, yeah, so it would be acceptance, love, wholeness, stroke oneness. I think that's, yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that. Okay, so what we're going to do as we go around the circle, we're going to start off with the first thought that you tend to think, which is, you say it in your own words, I'm disgusting, you look disgusting. Like what is it exactly that usually comes to your mind?
No, it's exactly that. It's you're disgusting, you look disgusting.
Yeah.
Do you mean like the actual sentence, or?
Yeah. What the sentence, what your thoughts tend to say to you.
Yeah, so it would be, yeah, that's disgust. Like, don't look any further, because it's going to get even worse. So there's quite an anxiety attached to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it would be, you disgusting, don't carry on looking, it's just going to get worse.
Okay, so write you are disgusting in the first pizza segment.
Inside.
Yes,
Okay.
inside of it, yeah.
Okay.
And then what we're doing here is, this is like called the Wheel of Positivity. I don't know if you've heard of Esther and Jerry Hicks. It's a book called Asking It Is Given.
Yeah, I know
Yeah,
exactly what you're talking about.
yeah. So it's from there. And so
Okay.
they state that, I believe it was 17 seconds. If you focus on something, a thought, for 17 seconds or more, you're able then to choose another high vibrational thought. That's why we cannot go from I hate my body, it's disgusting, to oh, I love my body and I accept myself. It's false positivity and it doesn't work because you can't go from down here to up there in like a second. So with
Yeah.
this exercise, there's a big part of this as well. You've got to believe what you're writing down as we go along the circle, at least a 5 out of 10 on your belief scale. Otherwise, again, false positivity, you're just lying to yourself.
Sure. Okay.
So the next segment on there, I want you to think of a thought that you believe, either 5 out of 10 or more with your belief scale, that takes you as close to acceptance, love, oneness as possible. That feels better than I am disgusting.
Okay. I guess you're strong and healthy, because I can buy into that sort of to a certain extent.
How much do you believe that on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being absolutely 100% believing?
Yeah, I'd say probably like a 6 or 7. Not the healthy part, actually. No, not the healthy part, because no, I don't think I'm healthy in any respect. So I think you are strong. That I can, yeah, that I believe. So I can put that down.
Yeah, pop that down.
Is that in another quadrant?
Yeah, in the one next to. So we're going like
Okay.
around in a
Yeah.
circle.
Okay.
And does that feel better in your body, emotionally and physically, than I am disgusting?
It, it does, but there's the one thing that concerns me is that I don't know that that's the right thing I should be saying, because I override my body. So in order to be strong, then I'll train excessively and do, like if I'm in pain, you don't feel it and stuff like that. So it does feel better, but I think it's like a double-edged sword.
Yes,
If
it's
that makes
interesting
sense.
that you link strong to fighting through your pain, pushing
Yeah.
yourself, but there's a different relationship you can have with I am strong.
Okay. Yeah. I don't have that. I don't know that or have that, so to speak.
Yeah, just as, and we'll change this one, but before we do,
Yeah.
I want to ask you, can you tell me three ways somebody else can be strong that doesn't include pushing past feelings of pain, getting on with it, pushing yourself to the extreme? Are you able to access those three things?
I think must it only be related to a person's body, or can it? Okay. So
I think.
I I think like I am strong for me. Maybe the biggest thing, and not with your body, is being true to yourself. So like what I said to you before is like I feel like I've been living like a lie for so long, because everybody sees this but doesn't know behind what's actually going on, and how messed up things are. So I think for me, a person can be strong if they are true to who they really are. And this is the first time I am, to a certain degree, well, not to a certain degree, but I am being true to who I am, because, like I said to you before, I'm shitting myself that people see this and then they know exactly who I am. And oh my gosh, but I feel like that could be an area of strength that I've sort of never worked on. Yeah,
That
I
is
guess.
strength right there.
Yeah. So I think yeah, so yeah, definitely. I think that would be it. Another one, yeah, I guess like if you've been through a lot of, maybe it's on the same level, I don't know, but if you've been through a lot of stuff, there's always one way or another way to respond to it. So, if it's been sexual abuse or whatever it has been, there's one of two ways to respond to it. And you can either, when I say work with it, I don't mean that in a funny way, but I mean you can work through it and work with it with that, or I guess you can crumble into a heap and just, woe is me and life is too terrible and I can't learn and grow from where I have been.
Yeah.
So I think that for me is probably also quite a key one for that.
Yeah, that's victor and victim mentality. So you
Yeah,
get to be a victim to your circumstances, which wasn't your fault, but you
yeah,
get to decide if you choose to be a victim or a victor over what happened to you and use it as like stepping stones to get you to where you want to be.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I hadn't ever thought of it like that, but yeah, I definitely think so. So then, if I think of that, then I think, that I know I've gone through, a whack load, and so I guess that's definitely an area of strength. Um, sure, I'm struggling to pick up a third one, barring obviously saying like it's overriding pain and it's being able to lift this and run this and do that sort of thing. So I'm struggling a bit on the third one.
Physically you can be strong, but
Yeah,
why can you then not be strong and then stop when you're injured? There's a difference between the pain of injury and the pain of one more rep because you want to go
yeah,
through failure.
yeah. I need to learn that. Like I need to, because when I get injured, I do just go put your big girl panties on and work through it, because I guess not doing something freaks me out. Like it really sort of worries me. So I've I've got to learn to. I know I've got to learn to respect my body, because I absolutely don't. I'm horrible to it, it, and it's taken a beating, and it is injured, if I can put it to you that way. So I guess I need to learn the signals, that like, Kerry, it's actually enough now, because I don't know those. Sort of similar to like eating.
And in terms of strength, then, so let's see if we can pivot this. So you currently see strength as pushing past like your ultimate failure. If you're injured, just keep going. Are you open to, or can you see that strength for you would be noticing when your body's saying, that's, I've had enough, and then choosing to stop? Isn't that strength to choosing to stop instead of keeping going?
Yeah, most definitely. And I think, yeah, 100%. And that it kind of scares me that I don't know that. I don't know when to stop, so to speak. And I don't know if I did. I think the fear for me is then it's, well, you're not good enough. You're a bit lazy. You're a bit of a wuss. Like, what, Kerry, what are you really doing here?
Yeah.
So yeah, but I think it's also attached to like, when I was growing up, I got a wonderful relationship with my dad, but he always said to me, second sucks, you first or you last. So
Mm.
everything that I've done my entire life has been, you need to be number one, so I've got to be the best at it. So in order to get there, you do what you need to do, which I know is not right.
Yeah, there it is right there. You intellectually know it's not right, but it's in your belief system, it's in your identity, what we was talking about in the group call. You think it's who you are, and then it brings so much anxiety not being, quote, the best, because in
Yeah.
your belief system, you think if you're not the best, then therefore you're the worst.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, there's no middle ground. But I think that's obviously the black and white thinking. But what I think, overarching all of it, what I'm looking for is the middle ground with everything. And to me, it's just never been attainable. It's never been attainable, and I just, how, like I look at your stuff and I'm going, how how the hell does she do that? How the hell is she okay? With all of that sort of stuff, because I can identify with, look, when you've got some amazing pictures of when you were doing the competitions, and like your body was insane. And I'm like, how do you not want to be like that? Why would you not
Yeah.
want to be like that?
100%. And that's why you're here, and that's why you've got the program. There's an exercise, I don't know if you've got to it yet in the program, called the ladder exercise, where I ask you to listen to a podcast, and then
Okay.
that will be very transformational to you. That's that kind of experience, and I've created this myself, but me having that realization, that's what really kickstarted things for me. And so to answer your question, and to everyone else listening as well, and radical honesty with all of you always, if a magic fairy came to me now and said, Victoria, would you like the body with a six-pack with no consequences at all, and you have the same mindset and way you feel and think as you do now, would you like it? I would say, of course. It's like someone saying, do you want $1 million? Well,
Yeah.
yes, please.
Yeah.
Because having a body like that gives you so much social capital. It does. I was
Yeah.
admired everywhere I went, but it got to the point where I was dying inside. I had bulimia. I mean, you know how that feels. That's why you're here. And
Yeah.
to me, the pain of staying where I was, even with all the admiration and the way that people saw my body, was not worth the unknown of what I heard was promised of food freedom and body love. And I took that leap and I was like, do you know what? Whatever it fucking takes, I cannot be there anymore. And I had to take a lot of time mourning the loss of that body, because that body was awesome. I'm not going to pretend it wasn't.
Yeah.
Some people in my position say, oh, even when I was skinny, I was never happy with my body. I was. I loved that body,
Yeah.
but I would not go back. I promise I would, if someone gave me $1 billion or billion, whatever, to go back in that body with the mindset and the eating disorder I had, there's no way on earth I would even think about it seriously. There's no way. That's how good food freedom feels, but you don't know that yet. And when you grasp a taste of it, you're like, oh, this is what she's talking about.
I think that's what's got me so like pumped up to now, because I went to nutritionists, I went to therapists that were eating disordered therapists, and with all respect to them, it didn't work. It really, really didn't. It didn't work for me. And I think, like, just listening to your podcast, I was like, whoa. And every now and again, I'd have, like, I call them light bulb moments, like, oh, shit, okay, like, you know. And so, and then even with the first coaching call, I was like, wow, you know. So it's, for the first time, like, I'm clearly a slow learner because it's 42 and this is not happening. It's starting to, it's having those moments of like, wow, like I said to you the other day, I ate breakfast, which is, you know, it's like, that's huge. I don't, you know, I would eat dinner and that would be it. And I ate something for breakfast, which I don't eat normally. I didn't purge afterwards or anything. So
amazing, KJ, amazing. Did you have breakfast today?
I knew you were going to ask me this. I knew it. And I'm not going to lie to you, I had some popcorn. Because
that's better than what you used to do, right?
It is. I made popcorn for my daughter to watch movies. And so I was like, oh, I'm hungry. Let me have, and I had some nuts. So I know it's not the healthiest thing in the world, but popcorn and nuts for breakfast. Yeah.
At the stage you're at, there's no such thing as too much food. There's no such thing as unhealthy food. Seriously, your body has been starving for so long. It's crying out for food. And so that's another conversation. But I want to stay with your question of, how do I know when enough is enough? It starts by being in your body, because currently, especially the way you call your body it, which is nothing wrong with that, and the way your mindset is, you're living here in your mind. You're not
100%.
embodied.
Not at all.
So let's practice now, if you're willing, and I'll close my eyes with you so you feel comfortable. I want you to close your eyes and just take a few seconds to just close your eyes and just be. And I'm going to ask you 2 questions. And so just focus on your breath. Don't change your breath, just focus on it. And just notice where you feel your breath the most in your body. So it might be your chest, it might be your stomach. If you're anything like I used to be, you'll be so used to holding your stomach in, you'll never actually allow yourself to fully relax in your stomach area. So just see if you can truly just lovingly give yourself permission to fully relax your abdomen, your stomach, let go of your abs, just Just let it be and notice how that feels. And the first question I have for you, and I would like you to answer this out loud. How do you feel in your body physically today? Any aches or pains? Any softness? What comes when you ask yourself that question?
So there's two aspects. Yes, soft and flabby, because I don't have that six pack anymore. So like when I look down, I'm like, ew. So it would be that, and I've injured my finger, so there is pain attached to that, and I have been trying to override it, but I actually physically can't with what's happened. So I think that's.
I want
Sorry.
you to focus on, sorry, I got my eyes closed, so I can't see when someone's going to talk. I want you to focus on that pain in your finger, and I want you to describe it to me.
Sure. Yo, that's a hard one. Sure. Well, I can't bend it, and don't know if I ever will be able to again. So it's something that I can feel that I dislike. That's probably the only way that I can put it, because I guess I could override it, but I know that if I do, it's quite serious. It's actually very serious at the moment. So yeah, I think that would be it. I'm not very good at articulating pain because I just squash it. So
Yeah. But now we're going there. So is it a tingly pain? Is it like a throbbing pain, a sharp pain, like a constant,
no. So it's a sharp pain.
a sharp
Very
pain?
sharp. Yeah, it's very sharp.
And so just this may sound weird to you because you're so used to not doing this, but just take a moment to like send love to the pain without trying to make it go away. So feel the pain physically and just almost like encompass a little blanket of love and soft clouds around the pain and just still feel it without pushing it away. It's there to be felt. And let me know how that feels, if anything.
That's weird because the sort of sending love there, the sort of first thing that essentially comes to mind is, so I'm bending it now, and that's where I can feel the pain. Is not about, like, you don't have to push anymore. Just it's, you can feel it and just keep it, like, keep it there. Don't get angry with it that it's not how you want it to be. So it's almost like for the first time, it's like, so it's because I feel like my body is a completely separate entity, and I don't feel part of my body. It's now going, I feel like my finger's going, it's okay, like, it's okay, we can work at this, it's okay. I don't know if that sort of answers your question.
It's beautiful, KJ, because exactly right. You're living in your mind at the moment. And so, next question, then we'll open our eyes. And I've got a lot to say about this. Next question I have for you. How do you feel emotionally in your body today?
It's quite a number of emotions, because I think the one is always feeling like let down, because it doesn't look like the way it used to look. But there is, there is definitely, like, without a shadow of a doubt, this like tiny, I'd say like 5% of being okay. Like, this is workable. Like, yeah, I think that's possibly like that. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Feeling of letdown, where is that physically in your body? So, if you had to name a place where you felt it the most, where would it be for you?
No, my stomach. without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, because I can't see the six pack. It's still, flat in tone, but it's not there. It's not what I want.
If this emotion of feeling of letdown was a colour, what colour would it be?
Red.
And what shape would it be if it had a shape?
Very jagged, like almost like a razor, like up down, up down, up down.
And is it moving?
No, it's centered in sort of the center of my abdomen.
Okay. Just focus on that shape, focus on that feeling. This will be new to you. So you're used to just pushing these things away. Just open the door to it and allow it to be felt. So focus on the sharp edges, the color of it, where it is, how it feels physically, emotionally. Just focus on that and let me know if anything happens.
It's weird because I feel like there's two sides, because there's the one side that's starting to be like, okay, almost like I can think, it's going to sound so strange, like I can think about it in like a warm, fuzzy pink way, if that makes any sense. But, and that's, I guess that's for me, if I visualize anything, or it would be always in like a warm, fuzzy pink. But then there's the other part, which is the part that I want to get rid of, which is just the sort of the black and the red and the hard, and you're still sort of seeing that jagged part. I don't know if I've just spoken in tongues or if that makes any sense to you, what
No,
I've
it makes
said.
complete sense. I see the loving part of you that actually loves herself naturally is
Yeah.
the pink fluff,
Yes.
and that's encompassing the pain, but
Yeah.
still don't try to push it away. Allow the black and the red and the spikes, allow it to be there without making it mean anything. Just invite it to be there and see if the pink encompasses it more. Just see what happens. So don't resist it, let it in, feel it, welcome it, breathe. And then you can open your eyes.
Sorry.
That was nice. I have my eyes closed too. So before I ask you questions around that, how you felt, I noticed at 2 points your mind automatically went to the first time when I said, how do you feel physically? You mentioned how your physical body looks, which has nothing to do with how you feel.
Yeah.
When I asked, how do you feel emotionally? You talked about you haven't got a six pack, so you went to how your body looked, which is
Yeah.
okay. It just shows that when that shifts, you won't even have that as a judgment anymore. You'll just have the experience of what you've experienced. So welcome to being in your body, KJ. How did that feel?
Very vulnerable and very scary. Like, the first thing you asked was where I felt the breathing, and it sounds weird, but I actually felt it in my head. Like that's where I was breathing. Was like wasn't in. I'm so disassociated from my body. It was in my head, and then I started to then focus on sort of bringing it down. I was like, oh, like this is a little bit scary. So I guess I would get there with a lot more practice, but it just felt quite vulnerable at that point.
And I don't know your full story, but my intuitive senses allow me to think that you've had a traumatic past from a child. No wonder you disassociated with your body, because if what happened to your body was so traumatic and overwhelming for an adult, let alone a child, of course you've left your body and you're only living in your head because your body wasn't safe to be in.
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head. Yeah.
So
And
now, so go on.
no, I was just going to say, and I guess that's hadn't thought of it like that, but I guess that's why it's so easy to override the pain.
Because you're not there.
Yeah. So that's, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why.
And
So
so
I can
now,
just
sorry,
bully
go
my
on.
body. Sorry, no, I can just bully my body into whatever I want, but I can't at the moment. And that's, I think, the thing that's, yeah, scary and making me feel like shit. I don't have control over that. Well, I definitely don't have control over the rest of my life. So
You know why you can't control it anymore?
no.
Because it's ready to be healed now. I feel like I'm going to cry.
I know, I've actually got tears. I'm so glad I'm wearing my glasses because I've got tears, but yeah.
It's time. It's ready. That's why you're here. It's ready to be healed. And before it wasn't. And that's okay because we're all on our own timeline, but it's ready to be healed. And the only way it can come up and be felt and to be healed and to be released is by being in your body and showing yourself that it's safe to be in your body. It's safe to be you. And then the eating disorder, although it's a huge symptom, a life-threatening symptom, it's a symptom of what has really happened from such a young age, including so much conditioning from your family and the world and society in general. It's just all of it together. And then you've just lived that way because you didn't know any other way.
Yeah.
And so now you get to change that
Mm.
by being a friend to your body. So I want you to imagine that your body is an actual person that you're in a relationship with, who you love very much, and you're just not sure, you don't know this person yet. You need to get to know her, what she likes, what feels good, what doesn't, what she needs. And if you were in an actual relationship, what kind of things would you do to get to know this person who you deeply love?
I I guess some of it, because I had like these, light bulb moments, were when I was doing the first bit of your course. Some of the stuff that I was, writing down, and I was like, oh wow, okay. I think, yeah, it would be questioning, like questioning everything, because everything is so conditioned. So it would be open to wanting to learn, opposed to being like strict and rigid and knowing it all. Because I feel like I'm coming to a position where I don't know anything. Like I'm clueless. Having said that, it's like scary, but there is, like, I'd say 15% of me, which I'm obviously wanting to improve, which is like, this is actually pretty cool. Like this could actually be quite fun. Yeah. So I think that's
exciting that it's 15% because your whole life will change. And I know it will because you're doing something you've never done before.
yeah.
And your birthright, you were born loving yourself and fully accepting of who you are. And you were born, and if you have a memory of this, actually, I want to ask you, can you encompass a memory? It may be when you were really young, or you may have no memory at all. It doesn't matter. But a memory of when you were being in your body without even noticing that you had a body to objectify. You didn't notice that you had, obviously you had a body because you were in it, but you see what I'm saying? Like if you were a child
Yeah.
doing a cartwheel or whatever, you had no recollection of your body being looked at.
No, right because from the age of 2 I was doing a specific sport, and my dad, and I'm not, I mean, I love my dad, so don't get me wrong, used to like make comments, about what I looked like, and being, although, like you said a million times, I look back and I wasn't big, but he would make comments of that. So I feel like in my own skin, right from the age of about 2, yeah, there was always a judgment, attached to it. It was never just being in my body. Yeah. So I don't actually think I remember a time when it was.
Yeah, and that's okay because the work that we'll do together, you'll be able to connect to that, even if you haven't got a memory of it. But just know that even if you have to think of another baby, if you know a baby in your life right now from someone, they were just born loving themselves, toddling around with no clothes on, and just being free to be them as they learn and grow into an adult.
Yeah.
That's who we are. All of us are just children walking around in adult bodies with a load of shit piled on us, it called our conditioning. And we wear, like you mentioned in the group call, we're all wearing different masks. I mean, even me, I've only been in this work 5 years. I've took a lot of masks off. I don't know if I'll ever get to the stage where I have no mask. I mean, hopefully, but then that's, you're talking the same level as like Buddha, Jesus, that kind of just being wholeheartedly who you are. That's courageous to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. But to not being like Buddha and that, but just to a certain degree, because I've started this process and because I've been listening to your stuff, I kind of think to myself, it is achievable because there's a lot of similarities between your past and mine, you know, of what I know and stuff. So it's kind of like that glimpse of, okay, it can be, whereas it's never been like that before. There was no glimpse.
I'm so glad because it's absolutely, I have zero doubt that you can't be where I am, zero, because all of your determination, all of this drive you have, if you just pivot and use that in this process, it's inevitable you're going to get where I am because we have, I mean, all the women I work with, we have the same similar drive that got us into the mess in the first place in a way due to trauma and all of that. But we have what it takes to fully recover without a shadow of a doubt. The more I get to know you, of course you can. You just need to know kind of what you just need a bit of guidance, obviously, which is why you're here. You just need knowledge, guidance, love, and being shown how to be in your body. So, in terms of the relationship analogy, imagine if you was in a relationship with someone and you were like, don't want to look at you, you're disgusting, can't look at you, I'm not going to feed you. Like, I know it sounds silly, but that's what you're in an abusive relationship with yourself currently.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
And so again, to answer the question, how do I know when it's too much? How do I know when to stop when I'm training or whatever? You only know if you're connected to your body, to her. I call your body like a her, a she. So a bit of homework, and this is ongoing for you. I want you to set on your phone at least 3 reminders. They don't have to be an annoying alarm. It can just be like a vibration alarm so you can just notice what's going on. To ask yourself to check in with you. And I did this.
Just writing this down, sorry.
Yeah. So at least 3 alarms a day. And you can have a little cute label on your alarm. Like I used to say, how are you, Queen? That's because I call everyone Queen because I'm speaking to who you truly are, the Queen version of yourself. And I would just take a moment to just put my hand on my heart, close my eyes, ask yourself those 2 questions that I asked you, but ask it to your body. Like, hey, sweetheart, how do you feel physically right now? How do you feel emotionally right now? And that's it. There's nothing to change. There's nothing to push away. There's nothing to do. It's simply checking in and paying attention to her because she's kept you alive from the second you were born. That's all she's ever done, innocently, just doing the best for you. And that's all she's done.
It's so interlinked. Like how I feel physically determines at this point how I feel emotionally.
Yes.
Yeah.
The 2 can be interlinked, but simply just asking yourself those 2 questions and closing your eyes, and it takes like a minute just to check in on you, and then you'll start to come back into your body and you'll stop living from your head. Like you said, it's no coincidence that you only felt the breath in your head. Whereas when you breathe, obviously it goes through your nose, like down, it goes down your chest into your stomach.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I know we digressed from the circle exercise that we were on, but how does it resonate with you? I am strong.
Yeah, it now seems a lot so what I'm looking for a lot broader, or a lot
Mm.
more than and not punitive. So that's
Yeah.
probably it. It was very punitive before, but now, given what you said, I'm like, oh, okay, it actually can be a positive. So it feels like there's more to it now,
Yes.
and it does feel like it will resonate, or it does resonate on a certain level. So
That's
yeah,
great. So do you want to keep that one?
yeah,
Yeah.
I think keep that one.
What does the next one look like for you? As close to love and acceptance as possible that you believe.
Sure, this is yeah, I'm struggling with that, because everything that I believe um, about my body is more in the negative than, than the positive. Because I mean, even like now, I'm thinking um, my self-worth, like my self-worth is attached to my body, and then I'm thinking, but that's not necessarily that. Well, that's not like positive, because it's how other people perceive me. So I'm struggling with reframing any of those thoughts into anything positive.
It's not a problem because I was stuck almost the same way you was when I started this. So then I created a question for myself and left it there. So how does this resonate? What if it didn't matter that I had to love the way I looked? How does that feel when you hear that?
That's like a flipping light, like really shit, like like wow. Um, Definitely never thought of, yeah, never thought of that.
And that's where you'll get to. But just without turning it into an affirmation of it doesn't matter how I look, because it does at the minute. So, duh. But
Yeah,
creating that big question, what if it didn't matter though? Like, how does it feel into that? How does that feel when you hear that? What if it didn't really matter? Truly, what if? How would that feel?
like so liberating. Like it
Mm.
it it would free up all the noise in my head, because there is so much noise, so many rules, so many things that are based in that. So if I was to not worry, it'd be such a stress relief. It would be so cool. It would be so fun.
Write that question down, and I'm going to leave the circle bit for you there because what you're doing when you're asking yourself, what if XYZ, you're opening a door for the potentiality of you walking through.
Mm.
And you'll walk through it when you believe it, and it's okay you don't right now. I mean, we've just started, right? But even just, I mean, when I kind of heard this in a different way, when I decided that I needed help and I couldn't carry on anymore, even though I had the perfect body, I can't anymore because I'm just dying inside mentally, all the obsessiveness around it, the laxatives and all of that. Or the only thing that kept me going was seeing people now like myself living in food freedom, that had been gym people, that had been on bikini athletes in stage, being happy. And I would look at their bodies and think, how the fuck can they be happy in that body when they used to look like that? Which is a similar question you had to me. But I just thought, I can't do it anymore though. So I need to just keep doing whatever it takes to get to that place. And because I had the determination, I did whatever it takes. Was it hard? It was fucking the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life, harder than the abuse. But I did it, and I'm so glad I did it because I changed my whole perception in terms of who I am, what my life means, what my body, like when you change on the inside, everything outside changes. So let me draw you a diagram. I've not got, the paper's really small, but this is just to give you even more inspiration. Can you see that circle there? Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to draw a piece of the pie on the circle like that. So that piece there is what I know that I know. So I know that I know how to train horses. What do you know that you know how to do?
I know how to ride a motorbike.
Perfect, right? The rest, I'm going to do it in dots. The rest of that circle is what I know I don't know. So I know that I don't know how to ride a motorcycle. What do you know that you don't know how to do?
Sure. Brain surgery or ride horses, train horses. There's a lot of things that I don't know how to do.
Yeah. And the rest of it, so everything outside of that circle, which is infinite, is what I don't know, what I don't know. But I can't give you an example of what I don't know because I don't know it yet.
Yeah.
And that, so you're currently, in terms of like your recovery stage, probably like in the dotted area. So you're aware of what you don't know, like you want food and body freedom. How the fuck do you get it? Like you don't know how to do that yet, but you're aware something's brought you here, that you want something different and you just don't know how to get there. Everything that you're not sure of, like how the hell do you get from where you were to where you are now, is currently in your you don't know it until you go through my program. And then that's, you've already experienced some of this through the podcast, with the moments where like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Those light bulb moments.
Yeah.
So you've got so many more of those to come. And with the being in your body and getting to know you, I want you to start calling your body she or her.
Okay.
More gentleness around it. And then as we wrap up, I want to just tell you how powerful your mind is. So do you think there's any difference? And if so, tell me the difference between thinking and thought.
Thinking and thought. Thinking is more perhaps internalized. Thought seems a lot more rigid, and it seems external. I don't know if, yeah.
There's no right
So,
or wrong. I was just curious how you
yeah,
saw that. So the
yeah,
way I see it is you have your brain, which is an organ, just like your kidney, that's an organ.
yeah,
Your brain obviously has synapses and creates habits, and it's the most like intellectual thing that we know on this planet, but it's still a tool that you use. Your
yeah,
mind isn't your brain. Your mind is in every cell of your being. Your mind is the spiritual part of you, the soul part of you, the part of you that chooses. Because if you think about how you brush your teeth or drive a car, do you drive a car?
yes, yeah.
Yeah. So when you first learned to drive, can you remember how awful that first lesson
Oh,
was?
yeah, no, not positive at all. No.
Right. And the more you did it, your brain's always watching your mind. Your brain's like, okay, cool, she's doing this over and over and over again. Therefore, I'll just create that as an automatic unconscious habit. That's what's happened with the way you think about your body, the way you think about food. Because of your circumstances, your brain's watching you with your choices and your feelings, and then it's just making it automatic for you. So you're living in that.
Yeah, that was a light bulb moment.
Right?
Like what you just said now is like, shit, okay, yeah.
Your brain's watching everything you do. Your mind, so the difference between thinking and thought, your brain, the organ of the brain, thinks. Automatically, the thoughts come, they're just there. And you think that's who you are, or you think that's the only reality you have access to. Conscious thought, on the other hand, is the 5% of you, because 95% of your life is completely, I mean, you know, this is controlled by your unconscious mind and unconscious programming. Therefore, you have a 5% chance every day through conscious thought to change your whole programming of your unconscious mind.
Wow. Sure.
And
Yeah.
that's what you're going to be doing, changing everything through conscious thought.
Sure. Yeah. That just like, yeah, it's kind of, I guess, like muscle memory, the way you were explaining it, and the way, you know, you see the, and now to think that like I can change it, and that's, yeah, that's quite something. And maybe I guess that's where you are, that you it's just a new muscle memory, you know, a new thing that's you accustomed to now. Geez, my mouth has even gone like quite dry, thinking like, wow, okay, like,
your thinking brain does not have to be this way. Mine was similar to yours. If someone had called me average, they literally would have given me the biggest insult anyone could ever give me.
Yeah.
Seriously, just being radically honest here.
No, completely.
I thought that people like me back in the day would just kind of lie into themselves, like, oh, well, at least, you know, they can eat what they want, so they're not truly happy though. But now I know for myself that that is bullshit, because I've rewired my whole entire brain, meaning I've created new synapses. So love, kindness, compassion is natural and automatic to me. So that's my thinking. Imagine how far you can go when automatically your natural thinking is kindness, love, compassion, acceptance. And then you still have conscious thought to create a life of your wildest dreams, which is why I'm sat here, a full-time coach, getting paid to be myself, to help women.
Yeah, yeah, wow.
Yeah.
That's, yeah, like now I feel like you've kind of opened the, sorry, everything I think of is like visualization, like that's the way that I think in pictures. I feel like now, whereas I had my toe in the door, it's like now you've actually opened the door. Like now it feels like, okay, now I get it, but I get it more so than before. But it sounds so like so easy, like, you know, like it should just, you know, you should just be able to do it, but it scares the shit out of me. Like,
Of course it does, because you have fear and your brain is wired that way currently, and there's a lot of trauma for you to still release. Trauma stored in the body, which is why you've disassociated from your body since you were very young.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of work to be done, but you're in the group forever. So there's no time scale you have to be done for, like, you know that. And so take your time, but just know that in 6 months' time, your life can be completely, completely different. You won't be fooling yourself. You won't be pretending to be everything changes, and it's hard to describe that because it's something you need to experience. It's like if I was describing to you what Niagara Fall feels like and looks like, I don't know because I've not been. There's a difference between you hearing my words and being like, wow, than you actually being there and experiencing it for yourself.
Yeah. No, I completely get that, because of the line of work that I do intellectually. I can't say I know it all, but intellectually I understand, absolutely. But in terms of a felt sense, no, it's, you know, it's not there. Yeah, and I guess that's where the difference, you know, that's where the difference comes in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you will get there. So 100% you'll get there. And I'm so grateful that you're here. And thank you for being willing to, obviously this is going to go out on the podcast to help many others as well. So thank you for being willing to do this. And I really hope that you share it with your loved ones when you're ready, so they can see how goddamn strong and courageous you truly are, not because you're overriding physical pain, but because you're being vulnerable. That, in my opinion, is the biggest strength of all, to be vulnerable and to be open.
Yeah. Yeah, scary as shit, very scary. But yeah.
Fear can't hurt you though. The eating disorder can.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you feel, KJ?
Like you like opened up my eyes. Like that. I guess when I started the session with you now, it was like I don't know anything. Like I don't know, like give me that magic pill and because I don't know. And now it's like, okay, now in actual fact, and I think it's the one, like you have this, like I said, light bulb moments. The one thing where you're saying, your brain is now programmed to instinctively always be very punitive and instinctively tell you how terrible you are. And part of it is now going to be just if you can reprogram that, it's not a fake thing.
Not if, when.
Yeah. So when and I feel like now there's a roadmap, or now there's a way that I can understand what you're saying, whereas before it was just like it just feels like bullshit. It doesn't feel real.
Yes. It's real.
Yeah.
It's real, which is why I do this is why I do what I do, right? Being in a similar position to where you were, being where I am now, I've just got to shout this from the rooftops. Which is what I'm trying to do. Obviously, I charge money for it because I spend a lot of time, energy, and it's my business. But that's why I also have my podcast to just give so much free content away. So people that truly are ready to change, they can and they will. If the fear of staying where you are is less than the fear of going forward into change and not knowing where you're going to be, no, it's that's the other way around. There's two fears, the fear of being stuck where you are and the fear of change. The fear of change needs to be less than the fear of staying stuck where you are in order to take action. And you're here. So.
Yeah. Thank you, Victoria.
You are so welcome.
Quite something, yeah. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And happy birthday to your boy for Monday.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm very excited. So, yeah.
And the homework I set for you in the group, and just check in. Let me know how you get on. I'd love to. The homework before with the social media accounts, and then what we've talked about today, tuning in, asking yourself how you feel, not pushing away, just opening the door and letting yourself be and coming back into your body. Let me know how that goes.
I will definitely. I will. Thank you, Victoria.
You're welcome. Sending you so much love, KJ.
You too. Have an awesome day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.